Hi, and welcome to our video series once again. And I'm really happy for those of you that are not able to join us on Sunday mornings. This is a wonderful way for us to be able to connect and to be a part of a video community. And so I thank you for being a part of that. And also, if you are in the area and you want to join us, we're Unity Church of Ventura. We meet at the Rubicon Theater at 1006 East Main Street in Ventura at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings. We would love to have you. Just know that we will welcome you with open hearts, open arms. So meanwhile, thank you for joining this video series. Well, I wanted to begin our lesson today by letting you know what the title is. The title is called The Application of Mystical Consciousness. And the reason I wanted to address this topic today is that what I really know, is that for each one of us, for you in particular, there is a presence. There is something more real. There is a much more far advanced presence than anything that we can identify with our thinking physical minds. There is something so much greater going on here. And because what I know about you is that you are a deep thinker, or you would not be tuned into this video, I know that you would be in agreement with me, right? I know this because there really truly is something far more advanced, something bigger going on. And until that something becomes a conscious and aware experience in your everyday life, then there might be many times, that you depend on only a fraction of wisdom that is available to guide you. Sometimes what happens is that we depend on physical reality. We depend on the outer world to steer the way. However, once a breakthrough takes place where you really connect with higher mind, then you are able to listen to your own profound inner voice, that inner teacher, that inner knower, and you're able to tune into that on a daily basis. And when you follow that guidance of something a lot bigger, then ecstatic experiences of synchronicity take place on a consistent basis, where you're in the right place at the right time, being connected to the right people in the right way. It's just magical. When you follow that kind of guidance, you are no longer a helpless victim to whatever life throws your way, but rather you are guided toward the synchronicity of everyday miracles. It's really a wonderful way to live. So what exactly is the application of mystical consciousness? Well, it's this type of grace that's available to you at all times. It's always present. It's this type of grace that you tap into during your time of prayer and meditation. The kind of grace that I'm talking about here today is that state of being in which you truly know that you are loved unconditionally, that all of your needs are met and provided for by the benevolent hand of a loving universe. Isn't that wonderful to know? And wouldn't it be wonderful to live from that place of acknowledgement, to live from that space of consciousness all the time? To just know without a doubt that you are loved unconditionally, all your needs are met and provided for, and that everything is done for you by the benevolent, loving hand of the universe. One time I was counseling this one woman who was not doing very well in her life. She forgot about being in this place of complete and utter well-being. And so I asked her, I said, what is it that you're doing at this time that is not connected to utter well-being? She said, you know what, there was a time when everything was just flowing perfectly. Everything was going my way. The right people showed up. All of my decisions were working in my favor. It just seemed like I could do no wrong. She said, I wish I could get back to that effortless way of living. And so I said, but what was it? What was it that changed? Was there something you were doing then that you're not doing now? What was that? And then she had this aha light bulb moment. And she remembered, she said, "Oh, I get it now. My schedule got so busy that I no longer took the time to pray and to meditate. So I stopped. I used to tune into grace where I knew that I was so loved unconditionally and that all my needs were met and provided for. I used to take the affirmation from the Course in Miracles that went like this. She said, by grace I live, by grace I am released. She said, I think I need to get back to that. No truer words needed to be said at that time. She answered her own question. She knew what she needed to get back to. You see, the application of mystical consciousness means that you take time every day to tune into that grace of the universe, where you truly know that you are loved unconditionally, that all of your needs are provided for and met, that this is all done by the hand of a loving universe that loves you so much. Wouldn't that be wonderful to know that and live with that every single day? Now, being in the mystical consciousness of grace does not mean that you just sit on the couch and eat pizza all day, but rather you just know that you are not born to live a life in a passive way, but rather you were born to expand and to dive into the adventure and to allow higher mind to guide your way, to operate through you as well as for you. Through you as well as for you. One of my very favorite teachers was Walter Starkey. I don't know, maybe some of you might be familiar with him. He was an author. He was a great teacher, and I believe he was a true mystic. And he lived a most grace-filled life. I want to read to you something that happened to him. He wrote in a blog a number of years ago that it was an experience that I believe changed the whole course of his life. And this is what it says. One morning, one New Year's morning on January the 1st, I was facing what from all appearances promised to be a disastrous new year and the apparent possibility of losing all that I have saved and worked for. And as I sat in meditation, contemplating the likelihood of what the year could bring, by grace, my intuition began to speak to me in a different voice than it had before. On the table beside me, where I had kept my Bible and inspirational writings, there happened to be a leather-bound appointment book. It was one of those books that had a couple of inches of blank space for each day of the year. And as I listened, I was told to pick up my pen and to write down what I heard, and that if I would tune into this inner teacher, this inner guide, it would give me a message for each day of that upcoming year. And most importantly, that by the end of the year, the gap would be closed between my divine self and my human self, and I would find myself able to listen to, live by, and act out of the guidance offered to me by my own inner higher mind. Because I was willing to make space for this time on those daily visits, what promised to be a disastrous year turned out to be a miracle in every way. Certain failure turned into undeniable success. Lack into very great abundance. Anxiety into peace and joy. But more importantly, by following their instructions, these messages put an end to the mental contradictions that kept me from fully experiencing my divinity. Over the years, I have identified that source within as the Christ, God, higher mind, the I am, the Buddha mind. No matter what you call it, it is a grace and a presence and a power that can only be discerned through a spiritual sensing or listening that is felt or experienced rather than thought. What happened to me can happen to you. Due to our current leap in greater spiritual awareness, receiving direct daily guidance from your own higher consciousness is possible for you, not just for a fortunate few. Your guidance may or may not come to you in the same words that mine did for me, but perhaps after experiencing my example, you too can listen to your own unique intuitive voice and receive the inspiration and healing that you need each day, just as I did that fantastic year and continue to do so. I love those kinds of writings. It's a glimpse into a spiritual journey, if you will. It's kind of like the Star Trek trip into someone's inner journey. I love it. And I truly believe that that was the beginning of the application of his mystical consciousness of living by grace. And that insightful experience conditioned his whole year, which brought about truly profound success for him in every day, or in every way, in every day. I was astounded as how he was always in the right place at the right time, and magical things just always happened for him. Only because he was true to his inner higher mind. He was true to that higher mind that allowed him to work that allowed that higher mind to work through him as well as for him. Now, you and I may not take the time to condition a whole year, each day of the year, to get guidance, but we can condition our day, our daily days, if you will. Quite some time ago, a psychologist shared that our day is conditioned in 2 5-minute periods of time. 5 minutes before we fall asleep and 5 minutes in the morning. And throughout the years, I read this a number of years ago, and throughout the years I've given this great thought because out of this evolved what I like to call 10 golden minutes. 10 golden minutes. This has been one of my very favorite truth principles. And every once in a while I like to teach simple truths that can make a profound difference if we just practice them. Remember, unity is a practice. It's not a religion. It is a practice. You got to practice it. So 10 golden minutes, 10 minutes that can change your life and influence every part of your day. 10 golden minutes. You can transform a hectic way of living into the divine tempo of peace and poise and self-empowerment. How would you like that? Would you like that? How would you like for grace to guide your every step in such a way that you are always in the right place at the right time, where just magical things happen for you on a daily basis? Well, I don't know about you, but quite some time ago, some years back, I took probably maybe 9-10 months where I had gotten into a really bad habit of forgetting to start my day with going inward to higher mind. I just didn't make the time for meditation. And the new habit at that time became the god of caffeine, first thing in the morning. As soon as that caffeine would hit the particles of my brain, and then what would happen was I'd go to my computer, I would answer emails, I'd schedule out the day. You see, in society, we generally think that the day begins when we get up in the morning and we have that first sip of coffee, right? And in unity, we can see that the reverse is true. The mature wheat, this is a saying, the mature wheat does not begin at harvest time, but begins when it is planted as a seed. So what does that mean? It means the day begins for us at night. That's when we plant our seeds. The day begins for us at night. The point is, what kind of seeds do we plant? What germinates while we sleep? How do we prepare the consciousness for important sleep time purification? Do you surrender into mystical consciousness? The average person, I'm sure, simply drops into bed and they just can't keep awake any longer and just in utter resignation, they go right to sleep. So when you retire, take the good advice of a tailor who once said, to keep clothes in good condition, empty out the pockets. To keep clothes in good condition, empty out the pockets. In other words, empty out the pockets of your mind and all the heartaches, the fears, the concerns, all the dangling ends. Just get them out of the way. Just give them over to the universe, who loves you unconditionally, because the universe wants to handle those things for you. The universe loves you unconditionally. It wants to handle those things for you. Plus, they're no longer yours to handle. And then you can just relax. You can let go and take in a prayerful realization such as God first, God only, God within me, God all around me. 5 minutes before going to sleep. God first, God only, God within me, God all around me. Doesn't that feel great? That's all you need to do for the first 5 golden minutes. And when you take the time to tune in, to tap in, you plug into the surge of God's power, God's grace, and you wake up in utter well-being. Now, the other 5 minutes that make the day are those in the morning. You can sit. You can quiet the physical mind, where you no longer are focused on the current reality, the current issues of the world, but rather you tune into a higher frequency of divine mind. If there is negativity in your mind, how many times have you ever had negativity in your mind while you're trying to meditate? Just remember this truth. Negativity can only affect you if you are resonating at the same frequency. So vibrate higher. Let me repeat that again. Negativity can only affect you if you are resonating at the same frequency. So resonate higher. It's all about choice, isn't it? In Colossians 3:2, it says, set your minds on things above, not earthly things. So, go within. Realize that you have a potent companion capable of providing for your every need. Now, personally, I would go longer than 5 minutes, but 5 minutes is great to start with. You might want to stretch it out to 10 minutes. But just tuning in, you will see that there is something far more advanced going on here. And then be open to listening. Be the receiver of wisdom. If there is something that you need to know, you will be told by a feeling or a nudge, and your path will be directed. That is true meditation. It can be only 5 minutes, because sometimes if you're in the habit of knowing how to tune into higher mind, 5 minutes can be sufficient. Stretch it out if you can, but just tune in, tap in. And when you sit, when you quiet the mind, take in this one intention, if you will, just this one intention, and that is, let your mind be still, let go, and allow. Be still, let go, and allow. And so this is what can possibly be the experience for you when your mind deviates, and it will, sometimes it just will. Just focus on the idea that you want your mind to be still, to let go, to allow. And then what happens is that you actually feel this physical feeling of detachment, of letting go. And from this time and place, you just feel this letting go from this physical reality. It's a wonderful feeling. It feels like freedom. For me, it feels like this spiral, if you will, a spiral motion. And you begin to see that there truly is something a lot bigger happening here. And when you get to that place where you are mindless and without thought, you are in a state of utter well-being. And then that's what you bring into your day with you. Meditation will take you to the core of who you are, the goodness, which is you. You are so good. You are filled with goodness. The good that is yours will then synchronistically come to you without effort on your part. The right people show up, all your decisions work in your favor, and it'll seem like you can do no wrong. Magical experiences then will feel like the norm. You are just in the receiving mode of grace. You are living from mystical consciousness. So I thank you for tuning in today, and just take 10 golden minutes tonight before you go to bed. Just remember the statement, God with me, God in me, God all around me, God first. Just remember that. And then in the morning, just remember, let go and allow. Be still, let go, and allow. So you might want to take time right now, tune into that inner grace, and put on that consciousness, that mystical consciousness, and know that everything is working in your favor. Until next week, take care. God bless you. Bye-bye.